toe into fantasy. Hello, this is Christina from the Newfoundland and Labrador Public Libraries, and welcome to a new series here on our YouTube channel. Today we are talking about fantasy reads. Do you want to give fantasy a try, but are not sure where to start? Fantasy is such a complex genre that encompasses so many different things, it can be intimidating to jump into. Or maybe you are already a fantasy fan and are just looking for something new. When you think of the fantasy genre, do you only think of authors such as J.R.R. Tolkien or Robin Hobb? Or books such as Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland? Let's check out some of the different options that the Newfoundland and Labrador Public Libraries have to offer. The Golem and the Genie by Helene Wecker. This award-winning novel is a wonderful mixture of fantasy and historical fiction. Wecker weaves Yiddish, Middle Eastern, and Muslim folklore, religion, culture, and myth together to tell the story of supernatural beings Hava and Ahmad, and their unlikely friendship at the dawn of the 20th century in New York City. It is a story of immigration, self-discovery, and friendship. This novel is slow-paced, and yet so captivating you won't want to put it down. It is large, just over 500 pages, but the story of these characters flies by. If you like this novel, then you're in luck. There is a sequel, long overdue and coming. Book 2, The Hidden Palace, came out in June 2021. This novel is perfect if you like historical fiction, stories that explore and/or incorporate folklore or mythology into the plot, a realistic setting, and brilliant writing. All the Names They Used for God by Anjali Sachdeva. This is a short story collection. Short story collections are a great way to explore a new author or try a different genre without having to commit to a full-length novel. The stories in this collection are imaginative and magical, yet also feel intensely real. The author uses a mixture of fantasy subgenres, such as magical realism, and crossovers with other genres, such as science fiction, while also spanning centuries and continents. This collection is a great way to dip your toe into fantasy, to see what types of fantasy you may or may not like. It is perfect if you like interesting characters, imaginative plots, stories that explore interesting and/or difficult subjects, as well as beautiful and poignant writing. The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Linus Baker leads a quiet, solitary life in a world that feels much like our own, with the exception that magical beings exist alongside humans. Linus is a caseworker at the department in charge of magical youth overseeing government-sanctioned orphanages for magical children. He's sent on a classified assignment to a very special orphanage with some very special children, and a caretaker who will do anything to protect his wards. This novel has exploded since its release in spring of 2020. It is an adult fantasy novel, but it provides a reading experience similar to that of reading middle grade or young adult novels. It is whimsical, enchanting, and fun, with touches of dark humor, and it explores contemporary and serious issues in a straightforward way within a very sweet story. This novel is perfect if you like well-crafted, well-told stories, wholesome stories, stories that explore serious issues that leave you feeling hopeful, and if you don't mind, a level of predictability to the plot. The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. A neutral space in hell exists where all the stories unfinished by their authors reside. This space is called the Unwritten Wing. A.J. Hackwith weaves Norse and Greek mythology together with Christian doctrine and mythology to create a world unto its own, where Claire, head librarian of the Unwritten Wing, resides with her assistant Brevity. Claire and Brevity get caught up in a mystery involving a powerful text that could bring about a war between heaven and hell. This novel is the first in a series. Book 2 is The Archive of the Forgotten, and Book 3, The God of Lost Words, was published in the latter half of 2021. This book is perfect if you like mystery and adventure, plot-driven novels, stories that explore or incorporate folklore, mythology, or religious faiths into the plot, books about books, and if you don't like a lot of detail-oriented world building. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is a masterful storyteller, and this list would not be complete without something by him. Neverwhere tells the story of Richard Mayhew, a perfectly ordinary man living in modern-day London, England, who is catapulted into the fantastical world of London Below after what seems like a simple act of kindness. London Below is a world that is both eerily familiar and intensely bizarre to both Richard and to the reader. It is both a captivating and dangerous place. This book is also getting an overdue sequel. Book 2, The Seven Sisters, has been announced, but no definitive publication date has been released. This book is captivating, mysterious, and fun, but not for the faint of heart. It is also dark, and Gaiman does not shy away from using gruesome or macabre details. It is perfect if you like adventurous, plot-driven novels, interesting characters, and are drawn towards urban fantasy. That is, fantastical stories that take place in and/or have elements of our modern present-day society. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully you will enjoy dipping your toe into fantasy.